Did you know that up to 45% of men over 40 experience some degree of erectile dysfunction? Yet most men don't actually understand what an erection is, or how fragile the process really is. An erection isn't just about arousal, it's a complex chain reaction involving the brain, nerves, blood vessels, and hormones. If just one link in the chain breaks, the result can be failure. In this video, we'll take you step by step into the science of erections, what really happens in your body, why things go wrong, and how modern medicine has learned to restore this delicate balance. And stay with me until Chapter 7, because that's where I'll reveal one of the most surprising truths about erections, a fact that proves they're not only about sex, but also about your overall health. Every erection begins in the same place, the brain. It starts with desire, triggered by what you see, hear, feel, or even imagine. The brain processes these signals and sends commands down the spinal cord, activating the nerves that control blood flow to the penis. Think of the brain as the control center of sexual response. If the brain is distracted by stress, anxiety, or depression, the signals may never be strong enough to reach the body. That's why psychological health plays such a crucial role in sexual performance. But when the brain is engaged, it releases a cascade of chemical messengers, the first spark in the chain reaction that makes an erection possible. In the next chapter, we'll follow that signal as it travels down the nervous system, unlocking the communication between your brain and your body. Once the brain is switched on, the signal has to travel. This happens through the nervous system, a superhighway of electrical impulses running from your spinal cord to the pelvic nerves. These autonomic nerves act like messengers. They release tiny bursts of chemical signals that tell the blood vessels in the penis to prepare for action. One of the most important messengers is nitric oxide, NO, a molecule that starts the process of relaxation in the smooth muscle tissue. If the nervous system is damaged, for example, after prostate surgery, spinal cord injury, or even long-term diabetes, the signal can be weakened or completely blocked. Without that signal, no erection is possible, no matter how healthy the blood vessels are. In the next chapter, we'll see what happens when those signals reach the penile tissue itself and how blood flow transforms everything. When the nerves release nitric oxide, something incredible happens in the penis. The blood vessels begin to relax. The arteries that carry blood into the penis expand, while the smooth muscles of the corpora cavernosa, the two sponge-like chambers inside the penis, loosen up. This creates space for blood to rush in at high pressure. At the same time, the veins that normally drain blood away are compressed, trapping blood inside. This is what makes the erection firm and stable. It's a delicate balance. The body has to allow maximum inflow while blocking outflow at the exact same time. If either side of this equation fails, the erection will be weak or short-lived. But blood flow alone is not enough. In the next chapter, we'll explore the biochemical chain reaction, the invisible messengers that make erections possible. Behind every erection is a chemical symphony. The key player is a molecule called cGMP, cyclic guanosine monophosphate. Here's how it works. Nitric oxide triggers the production of cGMP inside the penile tissue. cGMP tells the smooth muscles to relax, allowing arteries to stay wide open. More blood flows in, pressure builds, and the erection is maintained. But there's a problem. Another enzyme, PDE5, phosphodiesterase type 5, acts like a brake pedal. Its job is to break down cGMP and end the erection. Normally, this is how the body ensures that erections don't last forever. In men with erectile dysfunction, PDE5 often works too quickly, destroying cGMP before the erection is fully achieved. And this is exactly where modern medicine comes in. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how PDE5 inhibitors like tadalafil change this chemistry and help restore natural function. When doctors discovered that PDE5 was the brake that ended erections, they realized something powerful. If they could block this enzyme, men with erectile dysfunction might finally get relief. That's how PDE5 inhibitors were born. Sildenafil, Viagra, vardenafil, Levitra, and tadalafil, Cialis. Here's what they do. They inhibit PDE5, slowing down the breakdown of cGMP. With more cGMP available, the smooth muscles stay relaxed longer. Blood keeps flowing, making erections stronger and more reliable. It's important to understand, these pills don't cause an erection on their own. They only work when there's sexual stimulation because the brain and nerves must first release nitric oxide. That's why PDE5 inhibitors are not a replacement for desire. They're a support system that helps the natural process work better. But erections aren't just about chemistry. Hormones also play a huge role. In the next chapter, we'll explore how testosterone and other hormones influence sexual function. While blood flow and chemistry are crucial, no erection is possible without the right hormonal balance. The most important hormone is testosterone. It fuels libido, supports nitric oxide production, and maintains the health of penile tissue. Low testosterone doesn't just reduce desire, it can also weaken the entire erection process. But testosterone isn't working alone. Other hormones also play their part. Prolactin, when too high, it suppresses sexual desire. Thyroid hormones, imbalances, both hyper and hypo, can interfere with sexual performance. Cortisol, chronically elevated stress hormone, can block arousal signals. That's why doctors often test hormone levels when evaluating erectile dysfunction. Sometimes the problem isn't blood flow or nerves, it's a hormonal imbalance. But there's another key player in erections that men rarely think about: psychological health. In the next chapter, we'll uncover how the mind-body connection can make or break an erection. Even if your brain, nerves, blood vessels, and hormones are working perfectly, there's still one factor that can stop everything in its tracks: the mind. Stress, anxiety, and depression are among the most common hidden causes of erectile dysfunction. Here's why. Stress increases cortisol, which blocks sexual signals from the brain. Performance anxiety creates a vicious cycle. Fear of failure leads to loss of erection, which reinforces the fear. Depression decreases dopamine and libido, lowering both desire and physical response. This is why erectile dysfunction is often called a barometer of men's health. It doesn't only reflect physical function, but also emotional well-being. In fact, doctors often say, if you want to know the truth about a man's health, ask about his erections. Weak erections can be an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or psychological distress. And that brings us to the final chapter, where we'll tie it all together. Erections are not just about sex. They're a window into your overall health. An erection may seem like a simple event, but it's actually one of the most powerful indicators of a man's overall health. When erections become weak, irregular, or disappear altogether, it's often not just a sexual issue, it's a warning sign. Studies show that erectile dysfunction can be an early predictor of cardiovascular disease, because the same blood vessels that supply the penis also supply the heart. Diabetes, high blood sugar damages nerves and blood vessels, often showing up first as erectile problems. Hormonal imbalances, low testosterone or thyroid dysfunction, psychological distress, anxiety, depression, or chronic stress. This is why many doctors now treat erectile dysfunction as a clinical red flag. It tells us that something deeper may be wrong with the body, long before a heart attack, stroke, or other condition appears. So the next time we think of erections, we shouldn't just think of sex. We should think of them as a vital signal of circulatory, hormonal, and mental health.